The U.S. will continue to bomb the militias backed by Iran. That's the warning from the Biden administration after launching major attacks over the weekend.
And this comes as Israel is facing a growing conflict with another group backed by Iran, Hezbollah. These terrorists are launching more rockets against the Jewish state. Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
The U.S. says it's planning more attacks with Britain against Iranian-backed militias after carrying out dozens of airstrikes against targets in Syria and Iraq, as well as against the Houthis in Yemen, in response to the killing of 3 American military personnel in an attack on Tower 22 in Jordan last week.
This was the beginning of our response. There will be more steps. Some of those steps will be seen, some may not be seen, but there will be more action taken to respond to the tragic death of the 3 brave U.S. service members.
Conservatives have argued that the Biden team's weak retaliatory strikes have not worked so far, with more than 160 enemy attacks on U.S. bases or ships since mid-October. Still, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. will respond to further attacks while also issuing a warning to Iran.
From the perspective of Tehran, if they chose to respond directly to the United States, they would be met with a swift and forceful response from us.
Meanwhile, another Iranian proxy, Hezbollah, has been ramping up rocket attacks along Israel's northern border, and Israel has responded by targeting their forces and military capabilities. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari says since the beginning of the war in Gaza, Hezbollah aligned itself with Hamas.
Hezbollah is trying to divert our attention from the war in Gaza, disrupting the life of Israeli residents of the north. The aggression and attacks carried out by Hezbollah are fully backed by Iran and are the service to the Iranian regime that wishes to harm Israel.
Hagari says Israel is fighting intensely to reshape security and push Hezbollah back from the border, allowing Israelis to safely return home.
According to the UN Security Council Resolution 1701, following the Second Lebanon War, the presence of armed Hezbollah operatives south of the Litani River is prohibited. Despite the UN resolution, Hezbollah turned southern Lebanon into its main stronghold.
Meanwhile, the European Union's leading foreign policy diplomat, Joseph Borrell, is arguing that defunding the UN Relief and Works Agency would be dangerous because it would cut off aid, even as a video resurfaced recently showing Palestinian children at a school in East Jerusalem run by UNRWA bragging about wanting to murder Jews. And as Israeli revelations indicate, that UNRWA workers in Gaza participated in the October 7th massacre and kidnapping of hostages. All of this amid ongoing talks for a possible ceasefire and hostage agreement with Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel won't agree to a deal at all costs to free the hostages held in Gaza. He says Hamas battalions must be destroyed, the terrorist infrastructure cleared out, and tunnels neutralized. Hamas seems ready to refuse the hostage release deal if Israel doesn't agree to stop the war and withdraw from Gaza. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, UNRWA needs to be defunded and defunded worldwide. I'm so glad there's a movement now, European nations saying no. The Biden administration is following what Trump did. Trump said, no, we're not, American dollars aren't going to UNRWA anymore. This has to stop. They're clearly teaching their children to kill Jews. Let's put an end to it. But now, in light of the revelation that they employed terrorists, that taxpayer dollars, UN dollars, went into the salaries of terrorists, well, then it's over. This thing needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.